Finally, the episode that you have all been waiting for. The final installment of all of the US politics in a nutshell episodes while Sean has been editing all the videos. With us secretly recording it, Sean presents Dark Sean Special US Politics Part 3, the final installment. The modern government and the filibuster. Let's get started. Quick. Ah! Fire! U.S. politics. Sure. Whoa. The notes are on fire. Okay, we'll just leave it there for now. U.S. politics. Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode on this channel. And today we will be talking about the three branches of government. And we will also be talking more deeply about Congress. And we will also be talking about the filibuster. Yeah, we seriously need water here, guys. Great. U.S. politics. Let's get started. It's been a while since we've actually started this whole series. I mean, it's probably just going to get uploaded at the same time anyway, all the 3 episodes. But anyways, this is one of the biggest installments of the whole US politics in a nutshell episode. Today we'll be talking about the big government, and so let's get on with it. The big government can literally be divided into 3 parts. The executive branch, like the place where I love to go the most. The legislative branch, and the judicial branch. So what are all these 3 types of government? Well, let's start talking with the executive branch. Now, let me use this chart for our purposes right now. The executive branch is based on the White House, and it's given laws for approval by the U.S. Capitol. The U.S. Capitol gives the laws to the executive branch, and the president can either approve or, in some cases, veto laws. But here's the catch here. A law can be sent back to the legislative branch, and the veto can be override with a supermajority vote. 2/3 of the Congress has to be able to vote, 2/3 of Congress has to vote to actually let this to happen. If it's 1.9 out of 3 votes, that will still not count. And they can override the veto. And this is pretty good and awesome too. But yeah, now that's about the executive branch. The executive branch is also created. The president also helps, and whenever he runs on the ticket, he has to have a vice president. And whenever the vice president, at least until recently, whenever the vice president is resigned or killed or dead or for some reason is not vice president anymore, there has to be a replacement vice president. If the president dies or resigns of office or does some reason to just not be the president anymore, then the vice president, if he is still there, if there is one still left, will become the new president of the United States of office. Here's the catch though. Both the legislative and the judicial branch, for any good reason, as long as it's an awesome and good reason, can impeach the president, meaning that they can force the president to resign. And that is the executive branch in the nutshell. And over the past few years, we have had 50 of the presidents. Now, I will be telling you each one of them right now. Now, we are George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, James Knox Polk, Zachary Taylor, Milliard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, James Buchanan, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, Ulysses S. Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, James A. Garfield, Chester Alan Arthur, Grover Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, Grover Cleveland again, William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Warren G. Harding, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Harry S. Truman, Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Lyndon B. Johnson, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush's son, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and currently Joe Biden. And so I just listed all of the current 46 presidents. Actually, it would be called 45 since the 22nd president and the 24th president were basically the same person. So I'll just say 45 presidents here have done a great job too. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure Grover Cleveland doesn't count, but for some reason Wikipedia says it counts. Anyways, let's get on with it. Now let's talk about the legislative branch. The legislative branch can be split into two parts. The U.S. House of Representatives and the United States Senate. Let's talk about the U.S. House of Representatives. Now, this is how many representatives you get is based on how many people are in your homeland. So, these people are allowed to serve 2-year terms. Whenever you're elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, you have to serve 2 years. And after that, you can either increase the many representatives you get if your population increases, or decrease if your population decreases. Sorry, some ambulance is driving next to me, so yeah. Ignore the ambulance sound! Okay, it won't stop, so let's just continue on. The U.S. House of Representatives, Texas, could have more representatives if their population increased. And for now, California has the most representatives in the U.S. House of Representatives. It depends. The minimum is at least one representative, like states of Alaska and Hawaii, who have a minimum, the lowest population of all in the United States of America, have only one representative, meaning at least he can make decisions. Easier. And then we have the United States Senate, which this kind of looks like an eagle, don't you think? Look, here's the wings, here's the wings, here's the head, here's the body, here's the legs, here's the feet, here's the legs. Kind of looks like an eagle to me. Anyways, the United States Senate, it's just one of the greatest things of all. This part is just awesome for most reasons. Now here's the fair catch. There are 50 states, and each of them are allowed two senators. So in total, we have 100 senators. 50 of those senators are Republicans. 48 of them are Democrats. The 2 of them are neither Democrat or Republican. In the House of Representatives, 220 of them are Democratic, 213 are Republicans, and 2 of them are just what's considered vacant. I've actually said these statistics in the previous episode, so go check that out too. And now let's talk about something. Wait a second. We haven't bothered to talk about the judicial branch, and as the name implies, it is where justice is served. Kung kung kung. In the judicial branch, there are a lot of things. The judicial branch is basically the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, as I'm saying, is appointed by the President of the United States and approved by the Congress, which is, one half of it is the House of Representatives, the other half is just the Senate. The judicial branch is made up of some judges who are allowed to make minor courts all across the country, and they have done that several times, obviously, or else we wouldn't have that many courts in America. Also, I'm in China right now. I'm a Korean by nationality, and yeah, just read my YouTube description. This is the judicial branch in a nutshell. Basically, I have to simplify things here. And now let's talk about a thing called the filibuster. Now you're probably wondering, what's the filibuster? Unless you watched the recent news, you might have seen the word nuclear option found much more. It doesn't mean that we're just gonna throw nuclear bombs, that the United States of America will throw nuclear bombs everywhere. It just means to get rid of the filibuster. But what is it? Now back then, here's a little story here. Back then, the United States Senate was just a few people, and before they actually vote, they debate. Blah 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 blah. A simple majority can vote to end debate. And after that, they have to start vote. A simple majority can pass a vote, a law, or any action too. And then a guy named Aaron Burns started coming here and just said that the Senate, a high-minded place like the Senate, should have as much debate as needed. So he takes away the end debate vote. So this is the start of the filibuster. Now, back then there were just a few people, and there was just enough time for you. There's just enough time for it, and as physically much as possible that they can debate. Eventually, they get the tire out, and they have the vote. Then it's 1970. Let's fast forward to 1917. The World War I has started, but Woodrow Wilson hasn't declared war yet. Woodrow Wilson now asked Congress to declare war, but the Congress doesn't want to do that. So you know what they do? They use the filibuster. Woodrow Wilson is mad, and he demands that they return to the old saying: a simple majority that can block, then can end debate, and then another majority, and then another simple majority that can agree for the war. The Senate doesn't want to do that, so they compromise. 2/3 of the vote of the Senate is needed to end the debate. And this actually makes it easier to filibuster. This actually makes it easier to filibuster. Then later, and this isn't very used much though, and then until the 1950s, the senators start thinking and talking about the civil rights bills, and they start hating it. And so the sovereign Democrats don't have the numbers to actually do the filibuster. Don't actually have the numbers to block the bills. So you know what they do? They use the filibuster. One guy was very, very tired because he filibustered over 24 hours of the civil rights bill. And the person who was in charge of Senate back then was kind of annoyed. He was okay with the 2/3 majority vote, but he didn't like this long, pointless, and tiring speeches, so he takes it away. And this makes it way easier to filibuster. And here's the problem here. If the losing party can make sure that the winning party doesn't do anything, what's the point of living in a democracy? And when Joe Biden came into the presidency, he decided to do the nuclear option. And this is basically what he did. He basically ended the filibuster for everyone except the Judicial Branch. And that's a start. Good job, Joe Biden. At least he at least he went up to that promise, kept that promise. So that is the end of today's episode. Ta-da! If you really want to learn more about the U.S. politics and government, I highly recommend the series called Crash Course Government. It is hosted by a guy named Craig. And I actually really enjoyed the episodes. It's like 40 or so episodes, and I highly recommend it if you want to learn more about the government of the United States of America. So, hope to see you guys in the next episode. Sit out. Peace. Da 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 da